challenge of what to do with World War II relics in our built environment is one that still faces European cities 80 years after the conflict ended. And in a beautiful neighbourhood park in Vienna, an air raid bunker that's lain empty for decades is solving that challenge as it's brought back to life through artistic performances. You're listening to Tall Stories, a Monocle production brought to you by the team behind The Urbanist. I'm Andrew Tuck. In this episode, Alexei Korolyov visits the bunker in Schönbornpark.
The funny thing, or not so funny thing, is that there are so many people, and when asked, do you know about the bunker in the Schönbornpark, nobody knows.
I've been coming to Schönbornpark for years. It's one of the few green spaces in the 8th district where I live. I'd heard there was a wartime bunker here, but I'd never been sure, even though it sticks out like the proverbial sore thumb.
When you look at the building, you see, okay, it's massive, but you don't know what's inside, and so it's also invisible.
Magdalena Puchberger and Maria Reid are part of the research and curatorial team at the Volkskundemuseum, the Austrian Museum of Folk Life and Folk Art. The museum is also here in the park. The bunker is quite literally in its own back garden. Magdalena Puchberger.
You can tell so much about what's going on here in the 8th district, or what was going on in Vienna or in Austria or in Central Europe the last 80 years.
Just through this building?
Just through this building. What is so interesting that right now in 2025, in the big remembrance year, only in this year this building was officially erected. There was no what is called baulicher Konsens. That means it was never officially built.
Or recognized as built.
From the city of Vienna or from the Republic of Austria, because it was a war and a Nazi building.
Austria has long struggled to face up to its Nazi past. For decades after the Second World War, the official line was that it had been a victim, not a willing collaborator. That meant structures like this were quietly ignored because they pointed to an uncomfortable truth. In the mid-1980s, there were plans to incorporate the bunker into a large museum complex, but they fell through. The authorities said it would be cheaper to simply knock it down. But then, in April 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear disaster struck, and attitudes suddenly changed.
And then they said, we can't destroy civil shelters. That's why it stayed. So, the 80s there were so many civil movements like peace movement or anti-atom nuclear movement. And also then came Chernobyl, and there were all these movements that took place just around this bunker.
All right, so...
Welcome to the bunker.
But there's a sound installation.
It's from the musician Florian Kmet, and it's about getting another vibe into the building.
As you can see, there are 44 niches.
Separate rooms, basically.
Yeah, you can see it.
So this would be a typical
This
room.
is a typical foyer. There were beds inside and places to sit.
Yeah.
If you calculate, there should be about 8 people maybe in one. Not so much space.
It's
for
tiny
hours.
space, yeah.
For hours.
Last year, some of these rooms were turned into a performative installation called Waiting for the Barbarians. It explored what happens when a nation takes itself a bit too seriously.
And it was about that this bunker is, of course, also a symbol for this bunker mentality to keep everyone out and to stay very narrow-minded. And so we also had this performance here to think about Austria and Europe and the mechanisms of exclusion. And they built in most of these niches. There's one with Austrian air, for instance, that's still...
Austrian air?
Yeah.
One room has shelves of jars filled with what's supposed to be pure Austrian air. Another has a world map in it, where all major countries have been redrawn in the shape of Austria.
Yeah, it was all satiric and provocative and a boot camp against the barbarians, but always in a sarcastic and ironic or provocative way.
Oh yeah, this is a room painted in the colors of the Austrian flag.
I don't remember what was inside. But
More installations are planned, and the museum hopes to open the bunker permanently, though not as a war relic, but as a warning.
this is not the original bunker. It's not as it was. So we can't go back to that. So we take the next step and say, we want to make this war and violent building and transform it in something.
Reuse it.
Reuse it and remembering, but always with this, what happens if we have this fortress and we are not open and we don't fight for democracy and civil movements or something like that. That's our idea.
Tall Stories is a Monocle production from the team behind The Urbanist. This episode was written and edited by Alexei Korolyov and produced by David Stevens. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive new episodes every week. I'm Andrew Tuck. Goodbye. Thank you for listening, City Lovers.